the introvert thing is sort of an interesting thing because people do, when they think of a networker, they think of someone who's going around glad hatting, hanging out, throwing around a lot of business cards. That's networking. Networking is cultivating a relationship, and introverts are better at that.
Welcome back to our Happy Rainmakers Video Series, where point one can make a difference. I'm joined today by Sheila Murphy, who is an executive coach for lawyers. Thanks for being with us today, Sheila.
Jen, I am so thrilled to be here to have this conversation.
I always say, everybody goes to a networking event and somebody's asking for a travel agent, but how many people go back to their office and actually look up the contact information and send it with a little note and follow through?
I mean, that's the type of thing that has impact. I remember I went to an event where I was speaking about diversity and inclusion back when, and someone sent me a Dr. Seuss book that they thought was applicable to what I was talking about. And I'm sure the book was like $6, $7 something. It had such an impact on me that this person really thought a little bit outside the box. And it's just those little things that don't have to be huge that really make you memorable. But if you are more junior, the other thing is you're probably dealing with junior in-house people. Cultivate those relationships because they're going to go up the chain as you are, as are the friends that you went to college and law school. They may be in a position to help you. So if you feel you're a little junior, you're not quite ready to ask for business yet, cultivate. Just be a friend to people, get to know them, and it will pay you off so much in the long run because relationships don't happen in a week. I mean, I've seen people get hired right away, but I can count those on my hands. Most of where the stuff comes is where people have been cultivating the relationship.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many lawyers who are very well qualified at so many firms that do very good work. Being the person that they know, like, and trust is the most important thing.
I got to tell you, if I have to spend a lot of time with you as an in-house person, it's so much more enjoyable when I like you. And when we can have honest conversations. And those are the relationships that last. I think of two of the women who were my outside counsel. I worked with them for the 30 years. I'm out of the business. One of them is retired. We go to dinner still. We go to concerts together. We go to our kids' weddings. It became a real relationship. But did that mean we didn't have challenging and difficult conversation about service and other things during our time together? We did, but we worked through it because there was this thing and we know and like them and we trust them usually. Now and then there are bumps, but we get over those bumps.
Well, how about for those people who are more introverted and can't see themselves wanting to go to a big conference or joining a networking group? I mean, I know that there are all different forms of business development, and I steer people toward becoming an authority, whether it's on LinkedIn or writing articles or maybe just having a conversation with one person at a time instead of a group. Is that the right way to go? Am I missing something?
No, you're absolutely right. There are a lot of ways to network and develop business. So you can do small events. You can do alumni events for a company where everyone was junior and you've now moved on. A small dinner that feels really comfortable. But, the interesting thing that people don't realize is introverts are better networkers than extroverts. And this is according to a friend of mine who wrote a book, Build Your Dream Network, Kelly Huey. And in that book, Kelly talks about the fact that introverts, because they don't get the energy from dealing with a lot of people, they get to really know the person they're talking to. They understand what their needs are. They're really engaged with that one person, and they're able to benefit from having those strong individual relationships. So it's really, the introvert thing is sort of an interesting thing because people do, when they think of a networker, they think of someone who's going around glad hatting, hanging out, throwing around a lot of business cards. That's networking. Networking is cultivating a relationship, and introverts are better at that.
I have also come across some writing about how men ask for business more often than women do. Sometimes women assume that their friends know that it would be beneficial to them if business were targeted to them. And then they find out later that their friends knew how busy they were and how stressed out they were about work. and they didn't want to add to it. So they thought that giving them business would be bad, or they thought it could go in through anyone at the firm and it didn't have to be directed to their friend. And sometimes you have to educate the other person, right?
I was talking to one woman and she was telling me, I was talking to her about branding or something. And she said to me, I had the most troubling conversation recently with my sister. And her sister called her up, who was in finance, to ask her if she knew a lawyer who did a certain type of transaction. That was what her sister did as a lawyer. She did not even know. And so this was sort of like a loud wake up call to this woman that if my own sister doesn't know what I do, how can I expect other people to know? And so she really made this effort and it changed everything for her. Men also tend to have broader networks. Women think of their network as those people who do know they're exhausted, who, they don't think of the more loose connections as that, as ones that they can leverage, where men leverage those looser connections. And interestingly, research shows that the looser connections actually often lead to more opportunities than the close connections. And maybe it's for the reason that you were talking about. But it's getting sort of over that hurdle that I have to know them so well. Like I said, it's not the first day, but it's not the first date, but you don't have to be dating 2 years before you ask for business. And so and you don't have to know everything about them. So it's trying to find that right middle ground.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. I had a great time.